Also the case that if we learned nothing else from the war in Iraq, it's that taking out a bad guy is not a good idea if you do not know what you were doing.
My dear friends, it's the third time I've heard it. It makes no sense. And yet I am sure that Democrats were thinking this guy makes sense. I'd like to play it again. I didn't interrupt it this time. Now I will. And show you what nonsense was spoken by one of the two front runners in New Hampshire.
And while there's still debate about whether or not there was an imminent threat, there is no debate about whether or not Soleimani was a bad actor who was responsible for the deaths of many Americans. Given what you know about Soleimani, if your national security team came to you with an opportunity to strike, would Soleimani have been dead or would he still be alive under your presidency?
In the situation that we saw with President Trump's decision, there is no evidence that that made our country safer.
Okay, wait. That's nonsense. Do you understand you heard nonsense? There is no evidence it made our country safer? If he believes that, he's a fool. You don't want a fool for a president. You say, well, we have a fool for president. No, Trump is not a fool. Trump is a wild man, but he's not a fool. You may disagree with him, but he's no fool. Believe me, the Iranians know he's no fool. The Iranians think Buttigieg is a fool. You ask the Iranians who's the fool. No evidence that it's made Americans say. A man who goes around the Middle East fomenting as much terror as possible to Americans and our allies, his death, the second most powerful man in our greatest rival in the world, is dead. A man with staggering, he could swim in the blood that he has shed, and we're not safer? The weakening, Mr. Buttigieg, Mr. Mayor, the weakening of the Iranian regime is a good thing for humanity, not just for America. You would not weaken it. President Trump does weaken it. It is an astonishing opening sentence. But then this is what they do. They say ridiculous things and then immediately move on to something else that they know the people will nod their heads to. And they go, oh, what a great answer. Continue, please.
Safer. Look, I feel very strongly about the campaign of murder and mayhem that General Soleimani and his units have perpetrated.
Okay, hold on. No. First of all, it's fascinating. A legal professor whose piece I just read this weekend forbids his students from saying "I feel." They must say "I think." This is I wrote this two decades ago. It's the age of feelings. You would not have had John Kennedy go, "I feel." They didn't feel. They thought. Or they didn't think. I don't give a damn what people feel. Do you understand? I care what people think and do. I don't even care what they think. I care what they do. You don't care about it either. You care how people act. It's my whole point about happiness. Even if you feel unhappy, you should act happy. But anyway, so he feels strongly about the man's mayhem and chaos and taking of American lives. Well, then why aren't we safer if a man who sows death to America is dead? How could that be? Then you don't feel strongly about it. It's the one or the other. We'll be back.